Just had the wrench slip, came right down on my lip, and now it hurts. Well, here we are, back. We're always back. We're always coming back. We're always going to be back. We've been gone for a while, but not to say we haven't been doing things that have taken quite a lot longer to do, get parts for, and bring together one cohesive video. So today, we're going to be tackling the front bushings on here. Yeah, I already pulled it apart once for you guys to do the shocks. And truthfully, at that time, I should have just done everything and fixed this terrible issue with the ball joints. What they call like a dead wheel. So if you go to turn the wheel and it's going to go, and it kind of, so that's what this car is doing. And so today it's usually due to bad ball joints. And, well, I could tell you right now, it's definitely because of bad ball joints. This is the old one I had pulled out on the other side. Just knocked it out to get a good idea on what I'm doing. This is probably the easiest car I've ever pulled apart. And of course, like every time, we're going to pull this wheel off, get into here, get the brakes off, get some of the easy stuff off that you probably already saw me do. So that's not a big issue. So we're just going to roll little time lapse, pulling some of this stuff off that you've already seen me pull off a million times. All right, we're coming in here. We're going to loosen our sway bar. Just like so. Come on. All right, now it's loose. Because this is a long bolt. And all of the old, worn out, blown out bushings. You'll see what I do with those later. It's kind of works and doesn't work. Really on there. Whoop. Yep, that's going to move on you. Careful. And that will basically do it. I just leave that bolt in there. That's basically do it for this lower section. Oh no, we got to get these the bolts that actually bolt onto the ball joint or the turning arm. I'm going to show you. So all that's left is these bolts. They're a pain to get to, but they're right up in here. There's one on this side and one on the other, and they hold everything on. Essentially, you're basically keeping your steering arm and everything bolted onto there. So it's important to make sure those are tightened down. I thought they were a lot tighter than I did it, but nope. But the way everything sits, it's a little pain in the butt, but very, very doable. You just can't really get a socket inside of there. All right, I'm gonna just keep working at these one turn at a time. We'll come back to getting the top out and we're done. And that just drops down like so. So there's our ball joint. That's what we were trying to get to. And last time I actually pulled the whole thing out, I realized we don't need to take this strut out at all because there's nothing we're changing on it. It's kind of in the way, but it's also a pain to have to take the car up and down. So we're just gonna let this sit aside. You probably don't even need to take the bracket off of your brake, but I really didn't want it to dangle. So we're gonna set that up over here and move on, because these brake lines are going to need to be replaced soon. They are pretty well dry rotted. That's gonna be another project. So now we got to get this cotter key and the ball joint out, and I brought all my pullers, and I found that this is the best one to use. I think you can see that bolt's even like stuck in there. There you go. Let's just rip this out, and I'm kind of doing this the easy way, because you could disassemble this whole thing and take off the steering, which is shot, which we're gonna get to one day, maybe. You could take all this off, and that way you can just take the bolt out up here and go to the bench and do it. But I don't want to risk damaging this, since I don't have a new one, and I want to be able to get this car done in a timely manner. Man, was this one the 18? This one might have been the weird only one that's not. Yep. Found it. Okay. Yeah, this is like the only 18 I found. And whatever. We're going to just see if we could. No, it ain't coming off. And I'm not even going to mess around, honestly. I'm just going to go straight to the puller, because you could sit here and tap everything, you know, and try. So this is a longer one, but it works. I think this is just a cheap kit from Harbor Freight, and man, this saves you. You know, you could rent them for free at AutoZone and stuff, but this saves you a trip for $40. Like, you can just buy every thing you need, and this is just going to boom, like that. Wow, that luckily just went right in the hole and caught it. So boom, done. Man, look at that. Is oh yeah, you're not supposed to be able to turn the whole ball joint inside of the control arm. This thing is so shot. Now it's the fun part. I gotta get up in here and get that bolt and nut off. And this thing, you can see, I'm hoping this arm isn't completely shot, and it is. Once I get new bushings, it's not. It's just the bushings that are making it do this, and not the actual arm is like oval shaped. We'll find out. Some of the steering stuff's in the way. I'm gonna have to go turn the wheel, get this all out of the way. Hang on. Okay. So I moved the steering over, which opened up a nice shot to this bolt. And I don't need a long extension now. But this one is probably the only biggest pain in the whole job, because the nut is way in there. There we go. And it's pretty on there. Well, not as tight as it should be. The last piece, and this is what we've been. Oh my goodness, that is gone. And hopefully salvageable. I don't even think I need to press this out. Let's take it to the bench, and we're gonna get out this old ball joint, which is clearly not in there anymore, and it makes this job real easy. Welcome to my broken bushing bench segment, where I show you what you shouldn't have and what you should have. This car is the prime example of like extremely blown out, terrible bushings. Usually they're just kind of worn out and they don't need much, but the fact I could just take this out, and you're supposed to have to press these in and out, kind of. I had to press the other side out, which truthfully wasn't much better, but at least most of it was there. This one is pretty much gone. Holy crap. This is also a big reason why this car feels so sketchy. Now, we're going to come over to our ball joint, and this is the snap ring style ball joints, and the ones I got are pressed in, and I like the snap ring ones more. It's kind of like a reassurance, because truthfully, if we didn't have this snap ring on here, we probably wouldn't have a ball joint because that. So these are not pressed in, these are snap rings. The ones I got are pressed in, but they do have a groove for a snap ring. And we're going to do something special with those in a minute. So that's it. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, just my brush. Let me grab my brush. Okay, back. So I grabbed my brush. I'm just going to do a quick cleaning because it's gross. And traditionally, I would like to completely clean these, paint them, but I don't see it worth on this car. I mean, it does. I've cleaned it up a bit, but truthfully, it's never going to be a show car. It's just going to be on the track, driving it fast, responsibly. And so we just want the new piece in there, and then you can also get an idea for how quick this job is. But yeah, I just want to get this like super built on, because I mean that's got to be like weight savings at least. Okay, I want to show you. That's how worn out it was. This was rubbing into the side of the subframe of the car. Not bueno. Now we'll just grab our new bushing, our new ball joint. Don't forget, don't lose your little cotter key. I lost it on the other side. I don't know how to find one. Now, kind of went a little cheaper on these. These aren't the serviceable ones I would have liked to get, but I don't think if this car sticks around in the garage, I don't think these arms are going to be on it much longer. This part you should not be able to do with a ball joint, and that's pretty much put it in by hand. Yeah, actually this is pretty stiff so far. I'm going to go get the rubber mallet, going to give it a whack. Going to admit the other one went in a lot easier and was a little more sketchier, but this one is taking some force. So let's move to our press, shall we? Here's our press. We're going to grab a big old socket that fits over our ball joint area. You don't want to push right there. You'll just destroy it. We want something that'll go over it. 1 1/8. No, 1 1/4 is probably bigger. Ooh, how about this bad boy? That's probably the biggest out of them. So we're going to get a 1 5/16. That way it's pushing on the metal part and not the important stuff. So there you can see there's the arm. There's our socket. We're going to start bringing our press down. Honestly, if you're doing this in your garage, I'd say, or doing it where you don't have a press, go ahead and just throw your ball joints in the freezer, warm up the arm a little bit, and smack it in pretty hard, but you'll get it. There it goes. Perfect. It just needed a little bump. It's in there. I was just making sure there's no gap. And this is where that snap ring could go. And you can see there's a giant gap there. But we're still going to put that snap ring in because it's just one extra security. And don't do what I did, mother trucker. pinched my boot. Well, gonna have to fix that. That sucks. For the time being, I might just throw a little duct tape around it. But we can get new boots. Rats. No, that's not the style we want. All right, we're gonna take this over now to make sure this doesn't come out. We're gonna put a couple tack welds on here, and that's just gonna keep that. So if it does pop out and our snap ring doesn't catch it, then the welds will hold it. Fail safe is the snap ring. But yeah, unfortunately, that really does suck to blow that out. I'm gonna put some extra grease in there before I install this, and then I'm gonna just get a new boot to stick over it. But for now, gonna have to make with what we got. So let's go over to the welder. And I'm not doing anything special except for just put a couple big tacks in there and making sure this does not come back out. And plus, you don't want to sit on it too long. You'll just melt all of your grease and you'll be in trouble. I mean, I'm already going to lose it all anyway, so like it matters. But I'm going to do 2 on the back side and then 2 on the top side right there. And that'll should be enough. Big fail on that ball joint install. Other one went a lot smoother. Don't forget you lose your, I already lost it. There's the cotter key. Now all we got left is the rear bushing here. That was so blown out. And yeah, that's not going to go back in. I mean, might as well put nothing in is better. But I'm going to put a little bit of this lithium ion special grease suspension formulated pre-lube. Basically, you really want to do this before you do when you're putting bushings in, because it'll help keep from the squeaking and everything like that. Wow, for how loose all this stuff was in here, this side is a lot harder. Why are you so much harder? Maybe the other side is a lot more worn out than I expected it to be. This grease too, I'm just gonna tell you right now, this is like the stickiest. It does not, it's like sap. There it goes. I was gonna say, I didn't need to push the other one in. Let me go smack it with the hammer again. Then we're gonna get the back side here. Put a little grease in, so that's not grease. And since this stuff's so sticky, since this one really doesn't do much but just cushion the outside, it'll help keep it in place while we shove this thing back in, because it is a tight fit now with those new bushings. But here we go. There you go. Your arm's done. Your bushing's in. The welding is like somewhat of just like an old school thing, I think, of just reassuring your ball joints don't come out. Yeah, it's going to suck when you replace them, because you got to cut those welds down, but I'd rather do that than have a ball joint fail and you're stuck on the side of the road because your wheel fell off. Now, don't look at what I'm doing, but we're going to Gorilla Tape this bushing. I mean, ball joint. I'm going to just shove an extra bit of grease in here because we can now, because there's a giant hole. That way, all the stuff that's going to just come out, there's more of it. So that way we can lose more grease. And then get your best Gorilla Tape that you found in the bottom of your toolbox of your truck and trim it down a little. It's a little too thick. Then we are going to very methodically wrap it around for now. This is not what you want to do, but I mean, there's still Gorilla Tape wrapped around the axle boot of the Baja, and it has stopped leaking. So I don't know. You be the judge of that. That way at least we'll save ourselves a little bit of mess and trouble later down the road. But don't do this. This is just till I can get a new boot. Because, yep, unfortunately, that one got ripped. Okay, now that it's on, let's move back to the car, get this all buttoned up, and get this car back on the ground, hopefully today. All right, I'm going to have my bolt ready, because once this is in, we got to get the bolt through it. And it is a tight, like I said, a tight fit. Our little sleeve is, oh, there we go. We'll just do it like this. More hammer. About up and down, or side to side. And then I'm just going to pull down on my arm while wiggling. Actually, there it goes. I'm going to get the gloves because this is sharp. Oop, there we go. I'm just prying the screwdriver. I like it. I just had the screwdriver up on some bolt in there and then was pushing it, prying it. It worked. It's in. We're going to grab our nut and bolt. Had a little walk washer. And there we go. 14s all the way. This is the last thing we pulled off. Now it's the first thing we're putting on. But I almost forgot. We have one more bushing to replace up here. And that is this arm thing right here. It's like a trailing arm or something or another. Basically, this makes it almost like an A-arm. But these bushings are just gone as well. So there's a little cotter key up in here and these big old nuts. So let's get those off. I'm going to say, too, this one was by far an easier job than those ball joints were. Oh, man, that was getting the back. This is what I'm talking about. Pretty sure these nuts are... Oh, cotter key keeps that from, I guess, eventually one day falling out. Now, I have no idea what actual size this is. I do know that this 1 and 1/16 and 1 and 1/8, it's definitely, you know, metric and whatnot, but it shouldn't be too... Okay, well, maybe it is tighter than I expected. We might have to get a crescent wrench on here. Okay, we're back. I hate cars, but we're not going to get into that. Just had the wrench slip, came right down on my lip, and now it hurts. So, I wasn't using the right size wrenches, but I don't have the right size wrenches. So, took a washer, had my wrench, filled the space with the washer, boom, it fit, and we got this thing loose. See? Fuck that washer. I mean, this is a kid's show, not. All right, now I'm just going to unscrew the nut in the front so we can pull the whole thing out. And with all these new bushings, this wasn't even remotely close to lining up because all of it's in its rightful spot now. So we're going to be adjusting these anyways. I had measured them, but I don't think we're going to be using that measurement because, well, the car is now significantly better And what we're going to do that I didn't do on the last one is we're going to bolt it onto the arm first over here and then tighten these bolts down. Because the last one sucked trying to get it all put together. So let's unscrew all the way. Only thing we're reusing are our nuts and giant washers. You can see these bushings come right out. They're not really pressed in or anything. They are done for. So I'm going to go get the new ones and compare them. Okay, comes with the new sleeve. We're going to shove that in there. We're going to get some grease on all these, but you could just see the thickness difference. Just gone. So my lip really hurts. Like that. Put those in their hole. Perfect. Then we're just going to slide our giant rod back in. And luckily the tire wore off right there, so we know that that's the right way it goes. And if you know what size these nuts really are, let me know. I probably have a wrench somewhere that's the size, but I don't today. A couple dozen threads on there. It ain't going anywhere. Now it's time to put the ball joint, the thingy-mabobber. I am exhausted. It's time to put this back onto there and our Gorilla Tape repair. We'll see how well that works. But first, yeah, we got to get this onto that. Get our nut. I also do believe this one was like a metric or something not cool. Or maybe it was an 18. This is a 19, but it kind of doesn't fit. There we go. Well, Gorilla Tape, so far so good. It's a little tight. Definitely am saying do not do this. And I put a little too much grease. Oh wow, that is not how you bend a cotter key by any means. But I'm done. I'm exhausted. We're going to get this bolted back up. We're going to grab our other bolt. I believe this one. And door. For anyone actually doing this job, there is a shorter one that goes on the front because it's thinner. It's thicker back here, so it's a bigger bolt. And now it's time to just marry these. Of course, we have our wheel cranked one way, so that's not going to make anything easier. Okay. There we go. I like to get it pushed up against there. Get at least one of these. And it doesn't like the other side did this too. All right. Got it. I mean, even with the torn boot, this is going to be better than what was in there. That's for sure. So, look at the bright side of things. Now, get this back on. Like I said, now I'm going to loosen up this arm right here till it lines up with our holes. Last time I was, you push it, and that wasn't fun. So instead, we're going to bring the bar. I'm running out of threads, so we are going to have to push this just a little. Like that. Our next bolt. Some nuts with lock washers to round it off. And then all that's left is our sway bar. And just like our ball joints, I am going to scavenge something together. I mean, this one ball joint, the other ball joint came together nicely. Bushings I swear I had some new sway bar link bushings, but I don't. Why is this one not? Oh, maybe it's the wrong one. Oh, it's the wrong one. Two nuts to choose from, and I did the wrong. There we go. Let's run those down. Those can be tightened up now. Boom. Okay. So when it comes to the sway bar, let me show you what I have in mind-ish. Okay, so these are some sway bar links from the BMW, and I used different ones for my control arms anyways. This is what the Island Engineering ones came with, but these are good bushings. And I swore I had new ones. I probably do. They're sitting somewhere, full link setup, but I don't. Can't find them. Don't know where they went. So instead, we're going to use these, and there's only two. I put two on that side. I'm going to put two on this side and two old ones. It's not the ideal situation because, well, these are the sway bar bushings that are on there now, and they are absolutely junk. But I don't have many options until I can get these in. So we're going to use these ones. It's all the same when it comes to these, honestly. So we're going to slide these in, sandwich these, and we're going to put two of the okay old ones on the bottom. So when I do get the new ones, it'll be easier to change out. I don't have to pull this whole thing apart. I could just lift it, slide in the new ones, and slide it back down. That's my thought will work. So let's see if we can get these back in and in there decent enough. Obviously, you're going to have your top one, and then you're going to feed this through there, and then you want your spacer. This is the old spacer, the new spacer. As you could see, they're definitely different, the different lengths, so I'm not going to be using those. Slide to there, then you got the washer that goes there. Lift the whole thing. Why not? There we go. So you'd see there's our new ones and our old one, and we got to put one down there. But that's going to at least hold it in place. Of course, I already can't find the other washer for it, which is just blowing my mind. I set it all right here. Unfortunate, there's now a couple extra steps that I'm going to have to do in the future to get this thing more buttoned up. And that's replacing one ball joint boot and 4 bushings on sway bars. You definitely want those, just because you don't want that thing slapping around. Boom. So at least the tops will be on. Then we're going to button up our brakes. I'm going to get this one tightened again. Our control arm, trailing arm. So I'm going to tighten that up and kind of set it, because I'm just kind of eyeballing it right now, and get it where I kind of think it'll work. We'll get the wheel back on, and we'll see. It's probably going to sit higher now, definitely, because all the bushings are new and stiffer, but that's good. It's going to feel good, and I would love to go drive it, but unfortunately it wouldn't start today, which is super deflating, because I wanted to show you guys how bad it handled compared to now. You're just going to have to believe me, I guess. So let me tighten stuff up, and we'll be back. Okay, I don't think there's going to be much to see when we're lowering it, because we didn't do any springs or anything, but let's just see how it sounds coming down, I guess, and how much higher the front is. It's going to need to be driven to get those things worked in and then get an alignment done, but currently it's not running. Don't know why. That's the thing with cars, right? Oh yeah. About the same. Oop. I lowered it. It didn't do much. Now, but because we are going to be doing the rear next, I'm excited to drive it though. That tire's super flat. So we're going to get it up in the air just a little. So we're going to be doing the rears next, either the next episode or this episode, since that front did not go as planned, that ball joint. But why you don't start? Don't know. All right. Build yourself a race car. It's so worth it. It's cool to be here.